I'd like to say that we are very blessed today. We have a tremendous show. It's the golden days of Yesteryear radio troupe, Pam and Ben Dooley and company. I'd like now to introduce Mr. Ben Dooley, but I want to say first, we are going to have a hot chocolate reception with cookies out in the lounge right after the show. So come on over, all right? Thank you, Pam, Ben.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to those thrilling days of yesteryear. A live recreation of your favorite radio shows from the golden age of radio. Well, it's Christmas time again, and every year we've brought you wonderful shows with a holiday message. It's either been a classic Christmas movie or some of our favorite radio characters and their crazy Yuletide antics, and even sweet stories for the whole family. But this is the first time that we've really brought something to life with such a pure and powerful message. Let's Pretend was a children's show that reenacted such well-known stories as Cinderella, The Emperor's New Clothes, and even the classic poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." However, on December 26, 1942, they did something special, an original show called The House of the World, in which a little boy meets an angel named Goodwill, and together they visit homes around the world that are surrounded by the walls of selfishness, greed, poverty, and intolerance. We see the people inside living their narrow lives, consumed by fear, oblivious to the people around them who are needing love and help and support and kindness. One by one, their lives are transformed, so that Christmas can once again live in their hearts and in their homes. Amazingly enough, almost to the day, 10 years later, the Cavalcade of America brought their own Christmas story to the air. This program was typically known for their recreations and stories of historical events in American history that showed courage, initiative, and achievement, and the human spirit's triumph against all odds. Barbed Wire Christmas is one such show. It's the true story of American soldiers in a German POW camp during World War II. Morale is low, hope is all but extinct, and Christmas time is approaching. The men decide that no matter how bad their situation is, they want to have a Yuletide Mass. Soon the entire camp gets excited. Hope returns as they plan and create and look forward to the big day. But, well, let's just say things don't go exactly as planned. What's amazing is that even though they are 60 and 70 years old, these two stories remind us of what Christmas and the holidays are really all about. And their messages still ring true today. No matter how tall the walls that are around you, no matter how hopeless it seems, you can't stop Christmas. And we will perform these two shows for you just as they aired, with sound effects, music, and plenty of holiday spirit. While you are listening, you might pretend you are one of those who had the fortune of being in the live studio audience as they watch their favorite performers do their thing. Or perhaps you might wish to sit back, close your eyes, and imagine you are sitting in your living room in front of the old Philco radio, anxiously awaiting your favorite show to begin. So join us as we take you back to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
Broadcasting System presents Nylamax, Let's Pretend. By popular demand, once more the Columbia Christmas Caravan brings you Nylamax's original story, The House of the World. The lights are lowered. The cathedral bells toll their evening song. And our story begins.
Oh dear, I'm so cold. Help me, somebody, please, take me in.
Oh, hello, little fellow. Why are you crying?
I'm so cold and lonely. No one will let me in.
Where did you come from?
I don't remember. I'm just a child.
Well, where did you come from?
I don't know.
Have you no home?
No? Who are you?
I am Goodwill.
Goodwill? Why are you out in the cold?
It's Christmas Eve, and that's the most important time of the year for me to be out.
But shouldn't Goodwill be out every day?
Oh, you're wise beyond your years, little fella. You're right. But you see, people sometimes forget me, or pass me by, and wait until Christmas before they speak to me. I walk along the streets quite lonely, for lack of people to talk to.
May I walk with you, Goodwill? I'm lonely too.
Oh, of course you may. Hey, keep close to me, and perhaps I can keep you warm.
Where are we, Goodwill? What is this great big place we're standing in front of?
This is the house of the world, little friend.
The house of the world?
Yes, it holds all the people.
But it's built so strangely, all different angles and levels.
It is indeed. Let me tell you why. It's because all the people who have built this house see things in different ways. They all have different ideas of what a house of the world should be. So each one builds his own.
But shouldn't it be all one big
Well, it
house?
should indeed, child. Only people lose track of that sometimes.
But how can they see out? The walls are so high and the windows. Where are they?
Well, that's the trouble. You see, they've built the walls so high, there's no room for the windows.
But tonight Santa Claus is due. How can he get in a place like this?
He can't. That's why I was waiting here. I want to tell him he might as well move on. There's no place for Santa here.
Oh, but somewhere in there will be people who will be so disappointed. Can't you talk to them, Goodwill? Can you tell them to put in the windows so that there can be light?
I doubt if they will listen to me. Some of them will, of course. There are many, many people in there who know me and love me. Again, the walls keep them from getting out to me.
Try again. Tell them.
All right, little child. Come along. I'm afraid they won't listen to us, these people. But together, we'll try.
Oh, good. Where shall we go first?
We'll try to get over this wall first. It's very high, though.
Why is this?
This is the wall of selfishness, built solidly and very high. But come, who knows? Perhaps we may succeed.
You give me that. I will not. Make him stop, Mama.
Oh, Dottie, hush, please.
I wanted a China doll in an automobile I could ride it myself. And I didn't want this tin thing.
Goodness sakes, Dottie, you've done nothing but cry all day.
Mary,
Yes, Mrs. Smith.
what time will you serve dinner?
Will 7 be all right?
Yes, only be on time. We want to go to the Christmas Eve party at the Browns.
Oh, Madge, I forgot to tell you. Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds can't get you.
What?
Oh, goody. I hate that Reynolds kid. He always wants to borrow my toys.
I'm glad they can't come. I want all my toys to myself.
But Henry, with all the food we've cooked, my goodness, we can't possibly eat it all.
Oh, yes, we can. It'll keep.
I'm afraid it won't, Mr. Smith.
Well, all right. If it won't, throw it out. I don't want a lot of company. I'd just as soon be alone.
Mr. Smith, I know a family that probably won't have anything.
That won't do, Mary. No time to hear that kind of story.
I wanted a new muffin for Christmas and I didn't get it.
Pipe down, sis. Gee whiz, you got everything else.
Dear, hasn't that dressmaker brought my new gown yet? I simply won't go to the party if I have to wear a dress I've worn before.
Oh, good heavens, Marge. Your closet's filled with clothes now.
Oh, Henry,
Say hi. Uncle Judd gave me an electric train, and so did Aunt Ellen. Let's put them both down and have a wreck and bust moving them up. Will ya?
Nobody gave me a baby carriage for my baby doll and I wanted one.
Oh, rats. Who's that? Mary, if that's a beggar, shut the door in his face.
If it's the Reynolds kids, they can't play with my toys.
it may be the dressmaker. Let her in, Mary.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Well, who are you?
I'm Goodwill. Don't you remember me?
Goodwill? Well, why do you disturb us now?
Who's that with you?
This is a little child. We thought you might let us warm ourselves for a moment. May we?
Oh, the child's feet are dirty. Here, don't track the carpet, child. Stay where you are.
Don't touch my toys.
Stay away from my playthings. Oh, that food smells good, doesn't it, Goodwill?
Goodwill. Seems to me I have met you before.
Why, yes. You used to know me very well. That was before you were successful. I haven't seen much of you in the last few years.
I don't ever remember meeting you.
Oh, but you have. At college. I met you the day you helped a girl finish out the term by cutting your own allowance and giving her clothes and books.
Oh, yes. Yes, I I remember. But where were you, Goodwill?
I was the recorder. I remember the girl's happy face, and yours too.
Oh, what a lovely drum. Is it yours?
Yeah, and don't you touch it either.
You know, I can hardly remember. And yet, it seems to me I must have known you very well. I'm glad to see you now.
I feel that way too. As if I've met a very old and dear friend.
Well, I don't. I think that child is funny looking in those old clothes.
Ted, why don't you give him one of those 3 mufflers you got for Christmas? He's cold.
I don't care if he is.
Obey your mother, Ted. And Dottie, you have some mittens there. Give him a pair. Share with him.
No, I don't wanna.
Oh, come, dear. Both of you have more than enough. Goodwill has just reminded me of one of the happiest moments of my life, when I shared with someone who needed it. Oh, Dottie, make this little fellow happy, and your Christmas will be so much happier for doing it. Oh, what's that?
Sounds like the walls have fallen.
What's happening?
But heavens, the wall is falling down.
Why, look. We can see out for the first time.
Let me see, Ted.
What do you see? Look carefully.
I see people like us out there in the cold.
That woman looks so hungry.
My heavens, that man looks positively ill. Madge, let's ask them in and feed them.
Why not? We have plenty of food. Hello out there. Come in. Yes, you out there. Come in and eat with us.
Come out to the dining room and help yourselves.
Come with me.
I know where there's the turkey leg.
Come, little child. The wall of selfishness has crumbled. Our work here is done. Let's visit another apartment in this house of the world.
Oh, yes, let's. They did listen, Goodwill. They did.
Now, let's try this wall.
Oh, it's very high. What wall is this?
This is the wall of greed.
Greed.
Shall we try to climb it?
Oh, yes, it is very high. But let's try.
Come along then. I'll help you.
I tell you, Eleanor, I can't afford another town car this year.
George, you make me sick. What do you make money for, I am sick of that town car. We've had it for a whole year. It is positively shabby.
Now I want to invest $500,000 the first of the year in a new scheme I have, and I cannot buy another car. The garage is crowded now.
It didn't stop you from getting a whole new lot of photo ponies, I noticed. You've got millions of dollars, George. You're just stingy.
Eleanor, there's no use arguing about this. You know my ambitions. I intend to be the wealthiest man in this town and have all the power that goes with it. And nothing, not even you, can stop me. Are you expecting someone?
No, probably some late kiss. The butler will answer it. Come in. Well, who are you?
Good evening. I'm Goodwill. I've come to call on you. I brought a little child with me. May we come in?
Oh, it's very cold tonight. May I stand by that lovely fire for a while?
Well, now really. Oh, I suppose you may, but only for a moment. We cannot be bothered.
Did you say your name was, Goodwill?
Yes. Do you know me?
I never saw you before.
I pass by your house every day.
Our walls are very high here, and we have no windows. I don't know you.
Don't you think it's time that you did?
Why should I? What can you do for me?
Bring you happiness.
But I am happy.
Look in your mirror. You're not happy.
He ought to be. He has more money and more property than anyone else. Stingy old thing.
And you, Mrs. Brown, are you happy?
I would be if I had a new town car.
You said that last year and you got it. And still you weren't happy.
How do you know?
I was there. And I wondered at the time why you looked so discontented. How could you want more in the midst of all this luxury? Even the new motor car didn't satisfy something that you thought it would.
You're quite right, whoever you are.
I don't know why you should say all this to me. Are you a doctor?
I might be a doctor. At least I can prescribe for you.
Don't be ridiculous. I don't need prescriptions. I know perfectly well what I want. A new town car, another bracelet of rubies, and diamonds.
Why, you're wearing 5 of them right now.
Well, what if I am? And you are very impudent. The idea of a child saying something like that.
Just the same, it's the truth. What do you want more and more and more for all the time?
Well, what about yourself?
all you think of is how to get money and still more money. But I have to argue for everything that I want.
You bet you do. And even you won't stop me. Soon the whole world will know me as the richest man of our time.
And I suppose even then I won't get my new mink coat.
You know, it's a strange thing, but we've been here 15 minutes and neither one of you has said a nice thing to each other or smiled at the little child. You're most unhappy, both of you. Why not try to get more and more happiness instead of dollars and dimes?
There is no happiness, except in bank books.
You make me furious, Goodwill, or whoever you say you are. But perhaps it's because you dare to tell us the truth. We're not happy, George. We're miserable and discontented in spite of all the money. And you know it.
Well, suppose we are.
But there's no need to be. You two can be very happy. You needn't be miserable.
How, child?
Why, at least you're in a position to help so many people, to bring joy to your fellow man.
What fellow man?
On the other side of the wall.
But we don't know them. We can't see out. George, who's next door to us? Perhaps they might be interesting.
Yes, well, maybe they have something we'd like to have.
Oh, stupid man. How thick you've built this wall of greed. No wonder you have no friends or neighbors.
That's the truth, George.
Oh, is that so? Listen, I built this wall to suit myself, and it's good and solid, see?
Look, George, the wall is cracking. The wall is falling down.
Well, I'll be hanged. The whole wall is falling.
But there's still another one there. Why doesn't that wall fall, Goodwill?
That is the wall of poverty. Greed built it. And while greed lasts, so will poverty.
Listen, I hear music. A violin.
I hear a child crying. Well, that's darned annoying. Hey, you noisy brat! Stop that racket! You're disturbing us! Stop it, I say!
Look, there's a crack in the wall.
Look, that's a fine thing. Big enough for a man to go through. Oh, thunder. Now we're gonna have to send for a carpenter.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a carpenter.
A carpenter, eh? Well, I dare say it's a good enough trade.
Suppose you two people go through and see what's on the other side.
Come on, George, let's see. Help me over.
All right.
Help me, George.
Here, God, I am.
Oh.
All right.
Well, what on earth is this? Oh, how cold it is, how barren.
May we come in, please?
Oh, certainly. My apologies, madame. You see, we were not expecting guests.
Well, I'll be hanged. This is terrible. Who lives here? Who are you?
My name is Antoine, monsieur.
You didn't know that there was a wall of poverty, did you, Mrs. Brown? You've never realized how it could keep people from doing all the things you take for granted, did you?
No, I didn't realize poverty meant all this. You say your name is Antoine? You play beautifully.
Thank you, madame.
Why in heaven's name do you keep it so cold in here? What's this child crying for? And why don't you ask us to sit down?
Pardon, monsieur, but we have no chairs. No car either. I have burned the chair trying to keep the little girl warm. She's crying because she's in great pain.
Poor little baby. What is it? What's wrong with her?
It is the same story, madame. She played in the street. A big automobile, it come. She did not see it. A scream and my little baby lies in the street. Her back, it will not get well, ever. And she cries from the pain.
Mother, I cannot stand it. It hurts me so.
What do the doctors say? Can't they fix it up?
Oui, monsieur, but it will cost many, many dollars. We have no money, so the poor little back, it is not fixed.
That's ridiculous. I just know this child can be well and strong. I'm really sorry, little one.
Thank you, lady. Your smile, it soothes. The pain is less now, but...
Why do you cry?
I did so want to see Santa as he passed the house of the wolves, and I wanted to have Christmas carolers sing for me, and I can't.
Oh, never mind, dear little baby. George, I'll make a bargain with you. I'll not mention the town bar again if you let me send this baby to the best specialist in New York and get her well. Will you?
Madame, you are an angel.
I'm not. I'm ashamed of myself. Will you, George?
Well, that'll cost quite a bit. Where's your mother? Why isn't she taking care of her?
Please, monsieur. I have been unable to find work. My wife, she's got in a big office building downtown. She does not get home until 5 in the morning.
I see. What is your work?
Just now, anything. I am a violinist. I have played all over the world. I was playing my last musical on this, my beloved violin. Then I am taking it to sell.
Oh, you can't get much for it. It looks pretty weather-beaten to me.
It is old and very precious, monsieur. It was presented to me by the king himself, you see. His name and mine on the back.
Yes.
Oh, you mustn't have to sell it. George, dear, let's think of somebody else for once in our lives. Let's bring some joy and happiness to this family. Oh, won't you, dear? Come on, say you will.
Why, Eleanor, what's happened to you? You're beautiful. You look so young, like, well, the day we were married. What's happened to you?
Oh, I just realized it's Christmas Eve, and we can bring such great happiness to these poor people. Oh, I feel young and happy for the first time in years.
Goodwill, I think you must be a doctor, at least a beauty doctor. I never saw my wife looking prettier than right now.
Look in the mirror yourself, George Brown.
George, look.
Oh, the only face I see is a laughing one. Who's that fellow?
It's you, my friend. In your pursuit of material gains, you've forgotten how to play and laugh.
By Jove, this is a miracle.
Oh, you are going to help, aren't you, George?
Help, I'm going to do it all. Look here, neighbor. Don't you think of selling that violin. I expect you to come over and play for us. Yeah, I may even take some lessons myself. And this little girl here, tomorrow the best specialist in town will come to see her, and we'll get her all fixed up. Why, bless my soul, baby. We won't let you suffer another minute. No, sirree.
And I can see Santa and hear the Christmas carols, and my mother won't have to scrub floors anymore.
All that and more, baby dear. And your mother and your daddy will be taken care of as long as they need it, won't they, George?
You bet your life. We've got enough for all of us. My gosh, I've never felt so good in my whole life.
That wall, it's breaking too. George, get the baby.
Hold on.
Hurry, Antoine. We'll take him over to our house.
Wait. I got her. Come on.
Look, the wall of poverty's fallen.
Little child, 3 walls have fallen. First selfishness, then greed, and now poverty. But there's still one more we must try to conquer.
What is the 4th wall of this house of the world?
The wall of intolerance.
Then come. The others have listened to us, Goodwill. Let's talk to the people who have built intolerance.
Goodwill, you're going to join us at the party, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. In just a little while. I must meet someone outside of the walls of this house. We'll stop on our return.
See that you do.
Come, Goodwill. Here's our wall. Over we go.
There now, Mrs. Jones. I'm quite sure you're better.
Oh, I don't think so, Doc Rosenstein. I'm still so weak.
But you won't even try to walk, my dear Mrs. Jones. Now, how long have you been in that wheelchair?
It's 2 years this next spring, isn't it, Tom?
Well, that's right, dear. Do you think she's getting any stronger, Dr. Rosenstein?
I think so. Have you tried to walk?
Why, no, Doctor. Why, I don't dare. Is my pulse stronger, do you think? It seems so faint to me.
Oh, forget your pulse, dear. Try to think of getting well instead.
Oh, Tom, you don't understand. Does he, Doctor?
Well, maybe your husband puts it bluntly, but my dear, let me do the worrying about your pulse. Now you keep your mind on cheerful things.
That's so easy to say.
Yes, I know. But, dear little lady, you must help us to help you. And that's a good way to start.
Dr. Rosenstein, yesterday my heart acted so queerly, and it pains me too. You don't think I have any heart ailment, do you? My grandfather died of heart trouble.
Yes, and so did mine. But my heart is fit as a fiddle, and so is yours.
And you don't think this headache is from my stomach? It's been terribly upset for days, you know.
No, my dear. You said yourself you read a whole book through yesterday. Your eyes are just tired, that's all. Now, you forget all those unhealthy thoughts, and just to please me, try to walk. Take one step today, 2 tomorrow, but only try. Only don't worry so much. Relax and rest. I'll drop in tomorrow. Good night and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, Doctor. Good night.
Tom, I think they'll change doctors. Rosenstein doesn't understand my pain.
Well, I think he does, dear.
Tom, put down that paper and listen to me. He doesn't understand. And besides, well, I don't like him.
Why? Because he worships differently?
Well, that's one thing. After all, they spend a great deal of time and money on our church, and I think everybody in this community should attend it.
Even if they found comfort in their own idea of spiritual health in some other way?
Certainly. If we find it here, Rosenstein should too.
We're traveling different roads, Louise. Since the goal is the same, what difference does it make on which highway we reach it?
I don't agree with you. And another thing, Mrs. Thompson was telling me the other day that he sends out most everything he makes to his people in Europe.
Well, good grief. What's wrong with that? Certainly we'd be the first to try to look after our own people. Or should be.
Now, Tom, don't get me excited. You know I can't stand it.
Oh, all right, Louise, all right. But you started it. Oh, rats.
Tom, what's wrong with you? You're nervous as a cat.
I'm tired. What's it all about?
Tired of your job?
Everything. Year in and year out, the same dull, drab existence.
Why, Tom, you talk like an old man.
I feel like one.
Oh, and that reminds me. When Mrs. Porter called on me yesterday, she was shocked at my appearance. I could tell by the way she acted. Do you think I look old, Tom?
Oh, of course not, dear.
You do too. You're just trying to make me feel good. I look all thin and haggard and wrinkled. I think I must be anemic.
Oh, Louise, can you think of something else besides your make-believe aches and pains for a while?
Why, Tom Jones, you've never spoken to me like that before. You don't love me anymore.
Oh, I do, Louise. Of course I do.
No, you don't. Here I am, sick and helpless in a wheelchair, and now you've turned on me. Oh, I think you're absolutely harmless. Oh, I wish I were dead. Oh, my heart! I think I'm going to faint. Who's that?
Oh, now quiet down, Louise, and I'll see. Good evening.
Good evening. May we come in?
Who do you want to see? I think you made a mistake.
No, I don't think we've made a mistake. I'm Goodwill, and this is just a little wandering child.
It's very cold outside, and we haven't been at home, you see.
Well, don't stand there talking with the door open. There's a terrible draft. There now, I'll probably have pneumonia.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Please, come in.
Thank you.
Oh, you say you're Goodwill. I've seen you before, haven't I?
Yes. We usually speak on the street as we pass. Sometimes you don't see me.
This fire feels good.
Why, you should have warm clothes. Tom, isn't he a sweet little fellow? Such a spiritual face.
Yes.
And, you say your name is Goodwill? I've heard of you. Now, who was it that was telling me?
Well, if you let me, we can be very good friends, I'm sure. Shall we?
Sit down. We need a good friend. They're all too rare these day and age.
Well, what's the matter with this day and age? It's all right. It's only the people in this big house of the world that are wrong.
Well, lots you know about what they have to face.
Oh, but I do. Take yourself, for instance.
What about me?
Well, you wanted to be a portrait painter, didn't you?
Well, I don't know how you know that, but I did. But look at me. A second-rate lawyer because my father and grandfather were lawyers. Well, it makes me sick.
If you went to painting in the same spirit, you wouldn't even be a second-rate artist.
Why not?
Because you spent your time grumbling over what you wanted to be instead of making good at the job you had.
Now, just a minute,
Do you think you're the only one who didn't get the job he wanted?
Well,
Do you think people want to be blind or deaf or crippled?
Well,
no. But look at what some of them have done. Blind Milton, deaf Beethoven, Helen Keller.
How dare you speak to my husband like that?
Yeah.
Goodwill speaks to every race and creed and color.
I don't like you.
And that, my dear lady, is your great trouble. You're narrow, prejudiced, a tyrant in your own home who rules with tears. You plan to dismiss your doctor because he is of a different creed. You are cruel and inconsiderate to your servant because she is of a different color.
Well, what do you expect me to do? Invite her to dinner?
No. Just remember, she's human. And, but for the grace of God and accident of birth, she might be the mistress and you the maid.
Why, I've never been so...
Hey, you listen, you got a lot of nerve to talk like that. Goodwill, huh? There isn't any goodwill these days.
Oh, yes, there is. And it's your job, and everyone hearing my voice, to see that I survive.
You mean that I should get into this war?
I do. This isn't the time for personal interests. This isn't a fight for your individual wishes. No, my friend. This fight goes far, far back to your ancestors, who pointed the way, and stretches far into the future so that this little child by my side, and millions of others like him, may carry the shining banner of honor, integrity, and decency, and their heritage of freedom.
Well, I hadn't thought of it in just that way.
Oh, my clothes! My clothes!
What?
Oh, they're on fire! Help me, somebody! I'm burning up!
Don't just stand there. Get over there. He's on fire. Help me. Never mind water. Get that blanket on the couch.
Here you are.
Here, roll him in this. Pat it down tight. Smother it. No, not that way. Get out of the way. I'll do it myself. Oh, there. Oh, you poor little fellow. You're all right, darling. Louise will hold you close, dear. We'll sit down here in this great big chair and I'll rock you. See, baby? You're all right.
Thank you.
You're all cozy. Why, it didn't burn him, Tom. Only his clothes. And then, of course, the scare he had.
Oh.
Here, dear. He's all right now. Bless his heart. Aren't you, darling?
So warm, and feels so good around me.
Louise, do you realize what happened? Why you've walked. You ran and lifted that boy in your arms and carried him to the chair. Oh, Louise!
I did. And I feel strong and, well, why, it's a miracle.
Yes, it is. You forgot yourself in the service to the child. You wanted to give instead of receive, and strength was given you to do it. That's the miracle of love.
Why, that's my name. I just remembered it.
Your name is Love?
Yes.
And so now, as always, love leads the way.
Whose boy is this?
He has no home.
Well, he has now, hasn't he, Tom? Oh, darling, let's adopt him and care for him and make him happy. Won't you?
I should say we will. Youngster, from now on, you're ours and we're yours. And I'll make the best daddy I know how. Hey, what's that noise?
What's that? Why, it's the wall. It crumbled to the ground.
The fourth wall. Look, Goodwill.
The wall of intolerance has crumbled.
Hey, what's that sound? Listen.
Oh, it's Santa.
Up the walls of the house. Can you get in?
All the walls are down, love. Listen.
Hey, Dancer, come, Prancer, and Dunter and Blitzen. Oh, hello there, everybody. Come in. Well, my goodness. It's the first time I've ever been able to get in this house of the world. And now I can ride right through. Come on, you folks in the house of the world, join in the song. Goodwill, bring them all together. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Now we have a little song that feels appropriate after the last show that we just saw. What child is this who lay to rest on Mary? Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh. Come, peasant king, to own him, the King of kings. Salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone him. Raise, raise a song on high. The Virgin sings her lullaby. Joy, joy, for Christ is born, the babe, the Son of Mary.
The DuPont Company of Wilmington, Delaware, makers of better things for better living through chemistry, presents The Cavalcade of America. Our play is Barbed Wire Christmas, based on the true experiences of GIs in a German prisoner of war camp. Our star, Edmund O'Brien. Achtung! The time, a few days before Christmas, 1944. The place, an American prisoner of war camp deep in Germany. In a snow-covered compound, a group of American prisoners stand shivering in the icy wind, waiting for morning roll call. Achtung! Achtung! When you hear this whistle, you will come to attention. A message from the commandant. At eve of Christmas, the curfew will be extended to 1 o'clock. Take notice. Is eve of Christmas only. On all other nights, as usual, any prisoner found outside barracks will be shot.
This is the story of that Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve that I and 4,000 other enlisted men spent in a German prison camp. We lived in flimsy barracks, surrounded by barbed wire and trigger-happy German guards. We were forever cold and wet and hungry. And I mean really hungry. My name is Peterson, Sergeant Bert Peterson. As the elected leader of the 150 men of Barrack 35B, my main problem was to keep us all alive until the Allied armies came for us. And now, with another horrible German winter beginning, the only thing that kept us from doing something desperate and suicidal was our conviction that it wouldn't be too long now. Most of us kept up our hopes, but some, like a kid from West Virginia named Nick, like to sit around the barrack and worry about it.
Hey, Pete, how long do you think it'll be, huh? I mean, before we get out.
I don't know, Nick. Soon, I hope.
Well, like when? I mean, make a guess, huh?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a month, if we're real lucky.
Oh yeah, we're real lucky type fellas. Got a roof over our heads, 3 square meals a month, all the water we can drink. Who needs more? Outside of human beings, that is, or animals.
Hey, why a month? Our guys are in Germany only 400 miles away now.
400 miles? Nothing at all. They'll be bouncing in here on their pogo sticks first thing tomorrow.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Blackie. Where you been?
Over at the chaplain's office. Hey, you know, we're all going to have a midnight mass Christmas Eve in the chapel.
Ain't that charming now? What do you mean, we're all?
I mean the whole camp. Anybody who wants to come.
Well, that's better, because frankly, I couldn't be less interested.
Yeah, we know. Hey, Milstein.
Yeah.
Father Moran wants to know if you'll sing at the service.
Me?
Hey,
Sure.
Pete.
Why not?
Hey, Pete, you hear the BBC News this morning?
No, I didn't, Miller. Why?
Well, this Jerry Garber's talking outside just now, and he said that the Americans and the British are retreating like crazy back into Belgium. And the war was just starting, and he said that we'd be here for years yet.
They're always yakking like that.
You really believe that stuff?
I don't know. It's just what I heard is all.
Well, we can check it tonight on the radio, but it sounds phony to me.
It better be, because I ain't staying here another winter.
Oh, you're not, huh?
No, I'm not, my friend. I had plenty last winter, more than plenty, and I ain't taking it again.
So What you got in mind, Nick?
Well, there's 4,000 of us, ain't there? 4,000 against a handful of Krauts.
Nick, you ever heard about Luft 3? Our guys tried a mass break there, remember? And they got mowed down like so much hay. Not one man got out. Not one.
So they didn't plan right, that's all. All I know is, if that stuff about the Jerry's counterattacking is on the level, I ain't staying here. And brother, I won't be the only one. Believe me that.
I believed him all right. If the news was true, they'd be all kinds of desperate prison breaks. All resulting in one thing. Plain, simple suicide. That night, to catch the BBC News, I hauled out the crystal set I'd built. Radios were strictly forbidden by the Jerrys, so we had to take precautions.
Where do you want me, Pete?
Get that window, huh? That's it.
Okay.
Hud, you get by the door and sing out if you hear anything.
Right.
And loud, because I can't hear so good with these earphones on.
Okay. All clear here.
Nobody's coming.
All right, now keep it quiet, huh?
Yep.
The news ought to be on right now.
What's he saying, Pete?
Quiet, will you? Quiet, I can't hear. Yeah. I got it. I think it's London. Yep. Here's the news now.
Evening news. This is London calling. On Western Front, the situation.
On Western Front, the situation is increasingly serious. In vicious counterattack, German forces have bulged back into Belgium, in some places to depth of 50 miles. The United States 101st Airborne Division is ordered to be cut off and surrounded at Bastogne.
This is BBC.
So it's true, huh? So it's true. So we're never getting out of here. Never getting out of here!
Yes, it seemed to be true, all right. Very little was said that night after the news. The light went out at 9 as usual, and as we crawled into our sacks, no one slept. Each man I knew was lying there, thinking, brooding, planning, slowly building himself up to a state of suicidal depression. As barrack leader, it was my job to get their minds busy with something else. But what? Finally, long after midnight, I thought of something. And in the morning, first thing after roll call, I called a barrack meeting. All right, you guys, simmer down, huh? Hey, simmer down. Now, the purpose of this meeting, well, it's not very long until Christmas. Well, we haven't done anything about it.
What? The Yuletide season upon us so soon? Gracious me, how time doth fly.
Christmas? In this place? Who cares?
I do, Nick, for one.
You would.
Okay, so I'm a sentimental fool, but I had some kind of Christmas tree, for instance, every year of my life, and some kind of Christmas dinner. And I'm going to have them this year. Jerry's or no Jerry's?
Count me in, Pete.
Me too.
Okay, Blackie.
And the name's Milstein. And I still think it's a good idea.
Attaboy, Sid.
Like I said, I still don't care.
Shut up, will ya? What do you got in mind, Pete?
Well, like a Christmas tree for one, and decorations, and some kind of special dinner. And we could put on a show, and later there'll be midnight mass for whoever wants to go.
Goody.
Will you shut up with that stuff?
You want to go to your mass, you go to your mass. This here's a free country.
That's a joke, son?
It just slipped out, Sid. Forget it.
Anyway, we gotta have some committees. Say, Blackie.
Yeah.
How'd you like to be chairman of the dinner committee?
Okay, sure.
Hud, you're the comic around here. Suppose we put you in charge of the show.
Oh, no, you don't, boy.
Okay, we vote. All those in favor of Hud being chairman of the entertainment committee, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried.
Oh, for Pete's sakes, I don't want to be...
And this show better be good, boy. You're going to get 4 dozen ripe tomatoes right in the... Hey, am I crazy or something? Who's got tomatoes, eh?
And so began what I came to think of as Operation Christmas. And it started to work. In each of us, memories of wonderful Christmases long past were stirred into life. And strangely, each of us began to think of Christmas as his own personal possession, to be recreated here in this dismal place, down to the last minute detail. There were even a few arguments.
A star? On top of the tree? How come?
Certainly a star. What else, for Pete's sakes?
Well, an angel, you dope. You gotta have an angel on the tree.
An
Christmas is about. Look, didn't this angel come to the shepherds out in the field and tell them that Jesus was born and where to find him?
Yeah?
Okay. That's why you always have an angel on top. And I'm the chairman of the decorating committee, and we're having an angel.
Okay, so we put both on top. Put a star and an angel, okay?
Okay, all right, okay. No need to get sore about it.
Well, who's getting sore?
Yes, there were arguments, but behind them all was a deep common concern, a common spirit, the spirit of Christmas. And as Christmas Eve drew near, our tensions and worries were forgotten in our preparations for the party. All right, now a report from the dinner committee, Blackie.
Right. Well, this is what we got worked out, fellas. Each guy puts in 2 squares of K-rations and 1 square D-bar, and then you get some prunes, liver paste, depending on what he's got, and I'm gonna make cake out of what some people commonly refer to as ingredients, being namely some sodium bicarb tablets.
Thank you, Fanny Farmer. Yes, everything was going fine, and then the worst happened. It was the morning of Christmas Eve. We were all busy with our various jobs in the barracks when we heard the shout that meant we weren't alone.
Is it Jerry in the house?
Jerry in the house?
Jerry in the house.
Here, hey, what's on your mind?
A message from the commandant. Tonight, it will be forbidden to have the midnight mass. Quiet!
What do you mean forbidden?
The 1 o'clock coffee will still be allowed, but the mass is forbidden.
Wait, just a minute, fellas. Just a minute. Why not? Why no mass?
I do not make the orders, Sergeant. All I know is the mass is forbidden. Verboten. Das ist alles. Schnell!
What's the matter with the mass? Have they gone crazy? What's the matter with the mass?
I don't know. They've always got some stupid reason.
How do you like that?
I don't, not a bit.
You know, I got a notion to go anyways.
Yeah, they want trouble? We'll give them trouble.
What are you yakking about, Hud? You weren't going anyway.
All right, so I never had use for that religious stuff. But to me, having a mass not to go to is just as big as you having a mass to go to.
Try it again in English.
Maybe it's more like this, Blackie. You're a Catholic, and I'm a Jew. But we've only got one chaplain here, and, well, he happens to be Catholic. So we've got to sort of spread him around, so to speak. When he talks about God, I think of my God, and Pete here thinks of his, and Hud here thinks of his.
Assuming he's got one.
Sure, I got one. What do you think? I'm some kind of atheist or something? You one more crack out of you.
Nobody said that, Hud. Nobody said that. Now let's simmer down, huh?
Well, I'm going over to the chapel tonight, and I'd like to see the Jerry or anybody else who's going to stop me.
Me too, I'm going too.
They'll kill you. They'll kill all of you.
They wouldn't dare.
What difference does it make, for Pete's sake? Who's going to live here anyway?
I promised to sing, Pete, and I'm singing.
So we're all gone, Pete, whether you like it or not. What are you going to do about it, boy?
Do about it? I don't know, Hud. I frankly don't know.
You're listening to the DuPont Cavalcade of America, starring Edmund O'Brien. And now, Bill Hamilton speaking for the DuPont Company.
Did you know that alert American manufacturers have found more than 5,000 different uses for DuPont cellophane? You'll see some of these uses during the holiday season. Stores are offering fruitcakes, candies, tobacco, and many other gifts wrapped in cellophane. And you can add glamour to the gifts you wrap at home with sheets of sparkling cellophane and colorful cellophane tapes and ribbons. Many Christmas decorations are made of a special flame-resistant cellophane, such things as wreaths, bells, garlands, and streamers. All of these things that add gaiety and color to your holiday came about because research and development found an answer to the need for a better packaging material. Cellophane, one of DuPont's better things for better living through chemistry.
Now we return to our cavalcade play, Barbed Wire Christmas, starring Edmund O'Brien.
It was Christmas Eve, 1944. We were a bunch of GIs in the prisoner of war camp in Germany. As a barrack leader, I found myself faced with a serious problem. My guys were going to chapel for midnight mass, whether it meant getting shot or not. All I could do was go over and take it up with other barrack leaders. When I got to their office, there were a couple dozen other guys standing on the steps. Barrack leaders, compound leaders, and also the chaplain, Father Moran.
Hello, Pete. You too, huh?
How are you, Padre? Say, what goes on here anyway?
Well, it is a strange and wonderful thing, Pete. Seems that 4,000 GIs, Catholic, Protestants, and Jews, are suddenly all up in arms about a mass that most of them weren't going to go to anyway. So we've asked the commandant to meet us here.
Everybody, huh?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was only my guys.
Hey, look!
Oh yeah, here he comes. Private army and all.
What? Just to see me? About what, Captain Moran?
Colonel, it's about the mass. First you gave permission, and now you've forbidden it. And our men...
The Gestapo in the city forbid it. Too many men in one place, not wise.
But, Colonel, the men are determined to go.
So you tell them it is forbidden.
Excuse me, Colonel. They know it's forbidden. They know they might get shot, but they are at the point right now where they don't care. So, if you want a few thousand corpses on your hands, you're gonna get them.
No. I want no trouble here.
Then may I suggest that you ask the Gestapo to reconsider?
Very well. I will ask. But the answer will take time, Captain. If it does not come before midnight, the order must be enforced regardless of the consequences. You will tell your men the order will be enforced. Come back!
Well, Padre?
I don't know, boys. We could call off the service, just close up the chapel, but if the men show up anyway, I think I'd better be there to head off trouble. You know, I just can't get over it. I mean, what crazy, contrary, unreasonable, stubborn, and still profoundly wonderful characters Americans can be. I can't get over it.
Well, I went back to the barrack and briefed the guys on what I'd heard. They listened and nodded and said nothing. They hadn't changed their minds about going to the mass. They just didn't want to argue about it. Barrack 35B was really something to see that night. Nick and Miller had built us a beautiful tree made out of branches fastened to a broomstick handle. It was decorated with garlands of white tissue, scraps of colored paper, and spirals of tin from our powdered milk cans. And on the very top, there was an angel, carved from soap, fastened to a cardboard star. Yeah, it was really something to see. Dinner time came and still no word from the commandant. We had a fine Christmas Eve dinner that night. The Spam was fried just right and the potatoes were boiled to perfection. For dessert, we each had 3 stewed prunes and a slice of Blackie's specially baked cake. Pretty good, too, whatever he made it out of. And then came the long-awaited show. We had all kinds of acts, but one I remember especially was Nick, because he sang of home. On top of old Smoky, all covered with snow, I lost my true lover from courting too slow. On top of old Smoky, I went there to weep, for a false-hearted lover is worse than a thief. We had comedians too, like the act Hud and Blackie put on.
Yeah, here I is, German officer, just trying to make an honest living. And here comes another one of those new American prisoners.
You there! I'm looking for the prisoner of war camp. Have I come to the right place?
Oh, you are the new crazy funga ganga gaga dinga.
You watch your language! It so happens I know every word of the Geneva Convention.
What's home?
Where have I heard this before.
Quiet, please.
From the insolent manner, I wonder if I have come to the right place. Well, anyway, take me to the dining room. I am hungry enough to eat a horse.
To eat a horse?
Yes.
Yeah, you have come to the right place.
Yes, it was a fine show, but under all the laughter and applause, we knew that men were still determined to go to that mass, come what may. It was late when the show ended. We sat around, quiet now, and exchanged Christmas presents with our best buddies. They were strange gifts, some of them, but very precious in many ways.
Hey, how do you like that? A can opener. Hey, Sid, where'd you get it? This isn't the one you had.
You think I'm out of my head? Giving you my only can opener? Nah. I had an extra one.
Well, fine. I mean, thanks. Thanks a lot. It's real charming of you, boy. Well, here, I got something for you.
Hey guys, the time. It's almost 12. Anybody interested?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, just a minute, man. Just a minute, fellas.
Save your breath, Pete.
No, please. Just give me a minute. I'll be brief.
The briefer the better.
Yeah, well, all right. So right now we never had it so bad. But we'll get out of here. You know we will. If we can just stay alive a little while longer. Don't forget, we got lives waiting to be lived back home. We've got girls waiting, and kids waiting to be born and raised, and houses waiting to be lived in, warm houses with good food on the table. Okay, so you don't want any part of that? Fine. Okay, so go out now and get yourselves shot. That's all.
Guy might be right, you know.
Well, maybe so.
Hey, outside, look.
Mm-hmm.
A whole mob of guys from the other barracks, heading for the chapel.
Okay, there's gonna be a mass. I'm gonna sing.
Come on, let's go. Jerry's want to try to stop a couple of thousand of us. Let them try.
Come on, Sid.
Well, Pete, how about you?
Yeah, sure. I'm coming. Let's go. The chapel was already jammed when we got there. There wasn't room for those of us who came after us. And soon there were hundreds of guys outside, bunched around the open doors and windows, standing hatless in the snow. Inside, up by the cardboard, candlelit altar, somebody I couldn't see began to play the creaky old piano. The faces around me were tight with determination and anxiety. Where were the Jerrys? Why hadn't we run into any on our way to chapel? Obviously they were laying low, but why? We didn't know. We were tense and afraid. Whatever Father Moran felt during that midnight mass, it didn't show. For him, the Jerrys and their barbed wire no longer existed. It was Christmas, and he was honoring the Prince of Peace. And then from outside, we began to hear something. And a whisper, starting among the men outside in the snow, swept inside the chapel from man to man. Men whose nerves were at hair-trigger tension. The Jerrys?
The Jerrys are coming.
Okay, let's let them start something.
They want trouble, we'll give it to them.
The Jerrys were coming. We could see them coming towards us, across the snow, rifles in hand. In a minute or two, they were at the chapel door. We held our breath and waited. Not a man among us moved, but we were ready for anything. Then, just in time, Father Moran turned and seemed to give a nod to Sidney Milstein.
Silent night, holy night.
As Sid sang that age-old hymn, the Jerrys forced their way into the chapel. And, overcrowded as it was, gradually our prison place of worship was filled with our guards and captors. I knew that one of them was right behind me, but I didn't dare turn around. knew. The Jerrys weren't there to stop us, but to join us. In all our anger and fear, we had forgotten one thing. It was Christmas for them, too. And remembering this, we began to sing. We all began to sing. The sky seemed wonderfully clear that night as we walked back to our barracks, and the stars strangely bright. We didn't have to talk because each man's thoughts were alike. We knew now that the words we'd heard for so long were really true. That Christmas isn't only an anniversary, but a universal spirit of brotherhood, of peace, and goodwill. And in realizing these things, we lost our fear. We knew somehow that it wouldn't be long, that we would soon be free, that we'd soon be home. And we knew, too, that this would be always the most memorable Christmas of our lives.
Tonight's true story, Barbed Wire Christmas, was written by Werner Law in collaboration with David Gerber and was based on Mr. Gerber's personal experiences in the German prison camp. Original music for tonight's DuPont Cavalcade was composed by Arden Cornwell, conducted by Donald Voorhees. The program was directed by John Zola. With our star, Edmund O'Brien, you heard Gary Wahlberg, George Petty, Bill Zuckert, Ross Martin, Harry Jackson, Ed Jerome, Tonio Silbert, Kermit Murdoch, Dan Ocko, and Nelson Olmsted. The DuPont Cavalcade of America came to you tonight from the Velasco Theater in New York City. It is sponsored by the DuPont Company of Wilmington, Delaware, makers of better things through better living through chemistry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed our show today. We've got a fantastic show coming up on Sunday, February 16th, as we take a look back at one of the biggest battles ever fought on old-time radio. For over 20 years, the radio was filled with with unleashed insults, catapulted quips, and slung slings and arrows as two comedy kingpins faced off in a battle of the century. On Sunday, February 16th, we will bring to you two of the best episodes of the classic Jack Benny, Fred Allen feud. And be sure to check out our website at www.ttdyradio.com for the latest updates and show information. And now, the cast of those thrilling days of yesteryear. The announcer and Nick was played by Don Gingold. The mysterious boy was played by Shane Franz. The roles of Goodwill, BBC radio announcer, and DuPont announcer were played by Ben Dooley. The role of Teddy was played by Joey Baker. Dottie and the French girl were played by Bryn Franz. Henry and Hud were both played by Marty Dean. And the role of Mother was played by Teresa Rinalda. Mary and our Oh Holy Night soloist, Val Glowinski. Eleanor was played by Julie Rogers Baker. The roles of George and Miller, and he was also our fantastic guitar player, John Gould. Harris, the announcer, Antoine, and the German commandant was played by Rob Rinalda. Dr. Rosenstein and the German underofficer were played by newbie to TTDY, Dan Scobie. And the role of Louise was played by Amy Kennedy. Tom and Blackie were played by Tim Baker. And the roles of Santa and Captain Father Moran were played by Rob Lamont. The role of Pete was played by Randy Knott. And Sid Milstein was portrayed by Aaron Wolfenson. Show would be complete without these synchronous sound effects stylings of Julie Rogers Baker, Ben Dooley, and Aaron Wolfenson. And a very special thanks to the magnificent musical magic of Lennox Macaulay on piano. And on behalf of the cast, I'm the director, Pam Turlow. And on behalf of the cast, we'd like to extend our thanks to you, the audience, for once again helping our show to come alive and for living those thrilling days of yesteryear so we could bring them back to you. Merry Christmas! Thank you very much. There are refreshments if you leave these doors and go to the right. Well, actually, follow Dizzy. She's waving. She's waving you all on. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody, and thank you for coming out to see our show.